that you know,
right.
and to talk to them. And I think in Canada they would get some press.
But do you think that Canada will receive outside pressure not to do that?
They may, but if they buckle under, it will just be one more
cover-up.
One more disappointing aspect of our sometimes being too concerned with what the elephant tells us to do.
Okay.
So, but I think it would, if we did it here, it could provide some pressure, because even though most of the communications go north from south to north, it's not unknown that if you go north to south, and the few people in the United States listen to the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation and so on, and if we got enough publicity here, some of it would leak south of the border, and I think encourage more Americans to demand that Congress do something. I think they should also demand of members of Congress, what are you doing with our money? You know, what projects, what secret projects are there? And what are the consequences, militarily and otherwise, of the projects that are being undertaken? And do you consider these people enemy aliens? And if so, why? Prove it to us, you know, show us the evidence. And I think the only thing we can do is to just keep putting pressure on politicians and say, hey, you know, you're elected to look after our interests, not to do what intelligence organizations tell you to do. They're not elected by anybody. They're not accountable to anybody. They're just a bunch of people who think they sort of own the world and have their own little club, and they lie to each other. And I guess once you get in the habit, why, it kind of spills over in what you're likely to tell the public. So I think we have a very great responsibility to try and put the pressure on the politicians to say, time has come, full disclosure, let us know, and then we can decide whether we want to embark on a project of trying to save our planet in cooperation with others, or whether we want to let you continue on the road of making bigger and better hydrogen bombs to blow up bunkers and do a lot of things which are ultimately going to result in an uninhabitable planet, or virtually uninhabitable. And that seems to be the choice.
Okay, to wrap up this interview, you had mentioned that you're writing another book. And you had mentioned that you are going to dedicate a chapter to this subject, because we need more of that. So can you just give us a little inkling about what that chapter will say or will reflect?
Well, basically the things I've just been saying to you, but with starting off with evidence from people who have had personal experience in these areas. I'm not going to give a lot of examples because, you know, you can't put much in one chapter.
Right.
And I don't want the book to be too long. I'd like some people to read it. So to maybe get 8 or 10 at the most, people who have personal knowledge, and talk to them myself so that I can quote them verbatim and say, these are credible witnesses. I believe them to be telling the truth. I do not believe a lot of other people are telling the truth. And the time has come for full disclosure, and then give, in my own words, the reasons why I think the time has come for full disclosure. And it will, I will develop some political aspects of this in other parts of the book where I'll be talking about policy, including monetary policy, and so there'll be a few threads tying.
Well, it is all connected. I mean, if you look at it, it is all connected.
Well, sure.
I mean, if you start looking at all the angles of the, I hate to call it the UFO phenomenon, but the fact that we're not alone, it's all interconnected with the way this planet Earth is run and the way that we have been doing this for eons. And it also has a futuristic kind of look at it, a philosophy that exopolitics is going into, of how to deal with it. In other words, let's have a say in the way this goes in the future. I think that's why we're so elated that you came forth, because it gives us the hope, and we have to give people hope that we can have a say in how the future goes. And also, I wanted to ask you, when will this book come out so we can look forward to it?
Well, I think it's going to take me the best part of 2 years to write, because I want to research it properly.
Okay.
And I want it to be as authentic as I'm capable of making it. So I have no deadline, Same time, I want to get started as soon as possible and get on with it and put it out. I kind of hope it's out before the next presidential election. But that, more or less, it's not important in a sense, but in another sense, I may have some advice for electors of the kinds of things, alternatives that they should look at in party policy in both the United States and Canada. And it'll be my final effort, I think, so I want to make it a good one. And I'll try and tie together some of the loose ends and make it look as if it's part of a whole.
Okay. You've mentioned the United States and Canada. I want to add another thing. We in Europe are following you very closely because whatever happens here is reflected on the other side of the ocean. And I think what you've done for us is make us one global community as far as understanding that this affects everybody.
Well, it is a global community, and everyone is affected. And I don't restrict it to North America by any means because a lot of the things I'm talking about are universal.
Right.
The banking system is universal. And the fact that we have starving people in part of the world and rich people overeating in others is universal. And all of these things, so that it's not restricted to any particular geographical area, although, I will concentrate most on the areas I know best. But certainly the thought will be to say we can have a world of peace if we have men and women of goodwill. But what we're missing at the moment are the men and women of goodwill. We're more interested in killing each other than they are in helping each other. And so if somehow we can turn that around and reset our priorities to change the direction of our lives and of our expenditures to emancipate mankind and other kinds, but start with our own, then we can all look forward to I'm not a utopian, but we can look forward to something positive and really great for everyone. And it is possible. We have the means, we have the technology, we have everything we need except the political will to do it. And that's what's lacking. And we get off in these tangents that General Eisenhower warned us about. And I guess probably he knew about the UFO situation at the time he said it. Beware of the military industrial complex. And he, I think, probably concluded that some of the information from ETs was getting into the wrong hands, and that somehow we had to reestablish public control over what was going on.
Well, you've given us some hope, and I thank you so much for this interview. I appreciate your time, and we're 100% behind you, and we'll be waiting for this book. Well, thank you so much.
Let's hope we can work together and do something.
Okay. All right. Okay. What I'd like to say right now is to thank so much the Honorable Paul Hellyer, but mostly in exopolitics, it gives us a lot of things to think about, and we need to develop a philosophy, even on a grassroots level, of how to deal with contacts. So having someone of this caliber validate exopolitics will really help not only us, but the whole entire planet.